So that is what I am going to be looking at for the next 24 hours. That's the most important thing in my opinion. All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do a daily Bitcoin miner update and talk about Bitcoin, but I also want to talk about the stock market in general. We have to talk about the stock market because it so much relates to the price of Bitcoin and the activity of the Bitcoin miners. And today was a very bad day. I know there's a lot of people getting desperate out there. I can see that in the comments and in the Discord. And so I just want to spend a few minutes talking big picture. And so this is not going to be my normal daily Bitcoin miner update. However, I will put chapters and time markers below so that you can jump around if you're not interested in hearing about the market and you just want to go straight to Bitcoin. But I recommend everybody just stick around and let's talk just for a minute because it really all is tied together. So if you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody would smash the like button, I think the more people that see this video, that would help out the channel a lot. And it also will help get this video out to more people. And I do think people need to see either this video or something else like it because everybody seems to be, or the vast majority of people seem to be in a very bad place right now with the stock market, which is understandable. But we've been here before, we'll be here again. So let me start by taking a look at the market. And again, if you want to jump ahead, we'll have chapters below. Okay, so I just want to run through the indexes real quick because the US equities were down significantly today. The S&P 500 was down 4.04%. So that is drastic for the S&P 500. I can't remember the last time that was down 4% or more in a day. The Dow was down 3.57%, so that's a big down day, over 1,000 points on the Dow, actually over 1,100 points. The NASDAQ was down 4.73%, so just shy of down 5%, and the Russell 2000 was down 3.56%. So that is a very tough day. This is one of the worst days of the year, and it's really one of the worst days you'll ever see in the stock market. Other than a full-blown crash, this is about as bad as a day gets. I want to show you the heat map, and I think that helps to put today in perspective. Okay, I'll explain what this is, but I think it's fairly self-explanatory, and I think it speaks for itself. So this was truly a day where, unless you happen to own TJ Maxx beat on earnings, and they reiterated their forward guidance, and they were up 7% today. Other than that, you will see there is no green on this board. There is no place to hide. There was no safe haven today. And some of the places that are typically the very least volatile, most blue chip type stocks were down drastically. If you look at the consumer defensive stocks over here in the corner, Walmart was down almost 7%, Costco was down 12%, and Target was down almost 25% today. This was Target's worst day of trading in 35 years. So this was a very dramatic down day. Target missed their earnings today, and essentially Walmart missed yesterday. So that sector is getting beat up. But even if you look at the rest of the consumer stocks, Procter & Gamble's down 6%, Coke is down almost 7%, Pepsi's down 6%. I mean, this is usually where people go to hide their money to be safe in a down market, and these are dramatic downturns. Microsoft was down almost 5%, which for Microsoft is just unheard of. Amazon was down 7%, very near its 52-week low. Tesla was down just under 7%. All the big stocks, all the little stocks, all the high growth stocks, all the more mature stocks with dividends, everything. It didn't matter. There was, like I said, unless you own TJ Maxx, there really was no place to hide today. This was a wipeout. So we're going to do our Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update, but I just want everybody to bear this in mind. Today was a rough day, and I think there are more of these ahead. And that does not mean that I think the stock market is going to crash, because I don't think that. But I do think we are in very, very choppy waters, and there has already been a few days like this in 2022, and I think we can expect that there will be more. And in the middle, you see we've had some vicious rallies. So far it's been a year of selling into the rallies and just kind of duck and cover on days like this, I guess. So again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to get in the market or stay out of the market or buy this or sell that. I'm just trying to put in perspective, like, here's the heat map. This map is red. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the Bitcoin miner big board. Okay, so you'll see this is red from top to bottom, no exceptions today. And that is consistent with the market overall. So some of the larger Bitcoin miners had some of the larger losses. Marathon was down over 8%. Riot was down over 9%. Core was down just under 6%. CleanSpark down 8%. But it was pretty much across the board. Bitfarms was down 5.5%, and you can find your miner. And I think the best one on the whole board was DigiHost, which was down 0.68%. However, the last 4 or 5 days in a row, DigiHost has hit a new low. But even they are red. There was no place to hide in the Bitcoin miners either. I do know there are some extremely small Bitcoin miners that I don't track that may have been green, but this is the list we usually look at. I think it's 18 Bitcoin miners, 17 or 18, and they were all red today, and they were pretty deeply red. Having said that, Bitcoin pulled back quite a bit. Bitcoin was anywhere from about 2.75% down to 4% down throughout the trading day today from yesterday's close, and the stock market was down pretty much 4% across the board. So, those things considered, actually the Bitcoin miners did okay. I'm not saying they did great. I mean, obviously this was a rough day, but everything was down 5, 6, 7, 8, 9%. We've seen things down double and triple that on days that were nowhere near as bad as this in the overall equities market. So let's take a look at Bitcoin, because I do want to go through Bitcoin. I know nobody wants to hear it, but there's actually some encouraging signs. I'm going to continue going through the charts and do the same technical analysis that I've been doing. So I'm not, on good days or bad days, we just need to look at the data, and the data is not always right, remember, because there are other forces at work in the stock market and in Bitcoin. So, for instance, a massive down day in the equities may cause Bitcoin to not adhere to the technicals on any given day. Then again, on a day like today, I think you're going to see actually this did do quite well, technically speaking. And so I do have some hope and encouragement. But I want to talk about the upside and the downside, because we've seen this play before and we don't know where we're going from here. However, let's go through all the technicals that we usually look at, because I think you're going to be surprised that Bitcoin held up quite a bit better than you would imagine on a day like today. So this is Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame, and you will see this is our line at 28,800. That was the low on the year for 2021. That line has held in 2022. It's been a line of support. We did flash below it one day on May 12th. We got down to about 25,000. So that is the 2022 low of the year. But really, when we get to the daily candle, you'll see we have not broken this line on a daily candle all year this year or all year last year. So this is 18 months worth of support. And even on this down day, which was massive, this held. I will tell you, in yesterday's video, I talked about the fact that I thought we were headed up to 33. And obviously today we turned around and went down. So that is going to happen. And I always try and let you know that, these short-term things, this is what the technical analysis is showing. Some days we're going to be right on. Some days other things are going to happen. The best we can do is go through this analysis and try and see what direction Bitcoin is going in any given day. I would just encourage everybody to not let any one day to change their mind in general about what's happening with Bitcoin. Unless something philosophically has changed with your position on where you think Bitcoin is and where you think it's going, then, some days are better than others. So you can see the U.S. markets opened around here, and we had already been in a downward trend, and we stayed that way for most of the day. We bounced off this line of support. It held very strong. And these are 15-minute candles, and even the 15-minute candles only candle wicked below this line. So this line absolutely held up today. We tested it again an hour and a half later, and we're fairly close to it right now. So this is going to be a big test overnight. Will this line hold? I'm going to zoom out a little to get a little bit of a better picture. Okay, this is Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. So this shows you, here's the last basically 10 hours. This is our line of support here at 28,800. And you'll see this line held. We did have a breakout to the downside back on May 12th. And this 4-hour candle flashed all the way down in the neighborhood of $25,000. But we quickly recovered this line of support, and we tested it, a very strong test on May 14th, and it passed. And we did so again today. And so far, it's holding again today. So that is going to be the critical piece of information for today. Does this line at 28.8 hold? If it does, then I feel like all the technical analysis we're looking for is still on track. And today, both Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners seem to have been dragged down by the market. Now, if this line does not hold overnight, obviously, then like I've been saying all along, I will not be surprised to see us test this line at 28.8. Well, we already did that, and I will not be surprised if we test the line again down near 25,000. So none of that's off the table. We can't take that off the table. You know, it's impossible to call a bottom, so anybody who does, I would be skeptical of. But we can look at indicators on a bigger picture and try and get a sense of what direction we're going in. So with that said, I'm going to move to the one-day time frame. Okay, this is Bitcoin on the one-day time frame. So this was plan Z for zoom out, and this lasted for about 4 months, and we are long out of this plan. This pattern is broken. And you can see that happened near the end of April and the beginning of May, and really since the beginning of May, since May 3rd, it's just been down in a straight line, bottoming out on May 12th and then recovering back above this line of support. You'll see that even on the daily time frame, and these 4 days were the highest 4 days of volume in the year 2022. So even with this massive volume on the daily time frame, this candle here on May 12th, this opened and closed above our line of support at 28.8. So this line was never broken on the daily time frame. Yes, we did put in a new low near 25,000, but the 28.8 line held up as support. And it's held up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now today is the 6th day since then that it has held up. So we're going to see if it holds overnight, but that's why I say this is an extremely important line of support. You can see how long we tested this in a very strong way several times over the last week plus, and it has held. So hopefully this holds overnight. If it does, maybe we get back on track. If it does not, then we're going to have to take a look. Below this is a blue line. This is the 1,000-day moving average for Bitcoin. And this line has held up really over the last 7-year period. There's only been 2 times that we broke out to the bottom below this line. And even those 2 times that we did, it was for a very short period of time, and we did not break very far below it. So we've been holding this line at 28.8. Right now, the 1,000-day moving average is at about 28,000. So that's what I would be looking to hold as far as a daily candle close goes. Now you can see we candle wicked below this down to 25,000. But ran right back up above it. So those are going to be 2 important tests. We want to hold 28.8, and if we can't, we certainly want to hold the 1,000-day moving average. So that is what I am going to be looking at for the next 24 hours. That's the most important thing in my opinion. So just quickly, I'm going to look at the RSI, and you'll see we're stuck here. We are no longer in oversold territory. So during those high volume days when we bottomed out, this was May 12th. So you can see we were in oversold territory, which is fairly rare for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. So we've popped up back into the low 30s, and we're sitting about 32.5 right now. So no real indication there of anything bullish, but it does look like a sign that the bottom is in. This is the MACD on the daily time frame. So here we are, we're getting yet another day closer to a potential bullish crossover. So we've been following this very closely for about the last 10 or 15 days, and you can see we went from deep red. We did turn into pink candles, and they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yesterday we were close. Today we're even closer. However, I want to remind everybody there were about 4 fake outs in April where it looked like we were about to have a bullish cross on the MACD, and it didn't happen. So we are on the brink. I mean, you can hardly get any closer than these lines are right now, but they still have not crossed, so we have not seen a bullish crossover, and we have not confirmed that on the daily time frame. So that is the next thing that I would be looking for. So just a quick update. We've been looking at the fear and greed index almost every day, so I just want to give you that update. We did yesterday, we were in extreme fear at 8. That was a new 2-year low. We've hit 10 several times over the last 2 years. A few days before that, we hit 9, and that was the new 2-year low. And then yesterday, we hit 8. So we were in extreme fear. And we've been in extreme fear for a couple of weeks now. We did pop back up to 12, but that is still very deep in extreme fear. So this tends to indicate a bottom. Again, I'm just looking at tendencies. No one indicator is a guarantee of what's going to happen, but the more you can compile and put on top of each other that are showing a similar signal, then the higher probability it is that we have put a bottom in or are in the process of bottoming out. So I'm just going to finish up on the 15-minute time frame. You can see we're putting in a couple of green candles, but again, these are 15 minutes, so these are not very meaningful. We need to see if this line at 28.8 holds. If it does hold, I zoomed out just a little bit, you'll see this line at 33,000 right here is my price target if we can find a bottom and have a little bit of a bounce. That would be the top of our recent trading range. So that's where I'm looking to get to if we can get there. But for right now, I'm looking at 2 or 3 things to make sure we hold the line and don't head lower. So that's my Bitcoin and Bitcoin update. And that is my update on the market in general. Everybody, I hope that you can hang in there. Your portfolios, I know, may be suffering, but we've seen this before. And for those of you more experienced traders, you've been through times like this. This is not new. It's not fun, but it's not new. If you made it this far in the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thank you so much. And everybody have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.